Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. Now, Derek Chisora has been working with Michael Venom Page on some MMA stuff in preparations for Oleksandr Usyk. Now, obviously, he's still working on boxing. He's not having a training camp full of MMA training just for a boxing fight because that would be crazy. But I think that he's working on different things. Maybe working on tying Usyk up a bit, maybe grappling a little bit as well, seeing what he can get away with early on into the fight because when you're in a fight like this, the best thing to do is if you're going to commit something like that, like tie someone up and hold them, or do something that's maybe not within the rules, is see what you're allowed to get away with. I know it sounds crazy, but that is often what fighters will do. See what they can get away with early on, because a referee is not going to disqualify them in round 1 or 2 unless it's completely ridiculous. So he can see what he can do in the early rounds, like holding, moving Usyk and positioning him how he wants him. So he can get away with that early on in the contest, but he won't do going late. So working with MMA guys and working with Michael Venom Page, I don't know what he's planning to achieve by doing that. Maybe it's something to do with his movement. Maybe it's something to do with the grappling side of it. Because obviously Oleksandr Usyk is now a heavyweight but was previously a cruiserweight. So he's coming up and he's going to be the smaller guy. He's always going to be the smaller guy in the fight, and he can use that to his advantage. If you're the small guy, you're always going to be the small guy, especially in the heavyweight division. There is no use Usyk bulking up and trying to be the big man in the fight because he's never going to be. Chisora is the bigger man. Chisora is the stronger man, more powerful as well than Usyk. And Chisora is going to try and make that show on fight night. Usyk has to try and take those things away from Derek Chisora using his timing, speed, and especially his movement. But Chisora's job is to try and prevent that from happening. Maybe grab hold when Usyk is getting his combinations away. Maybe he's looking to walk through a few punches before he can land one big power shot of his own, because Usyk's going to be throwing punches in bunches, whereas Derek Chisora might only be able to land one punch at a time. And what he is going to have to do, if he's even able to land that punch, is make sure it's a significant punch, because Usyk is very fast on his feet as well, has a good movement. He does get hit. He got hit a lot in there with Tony Bellew, but Bellew was lighter and faster. Chisora is not as fast as Tony Bellew, so catching Usyk clean is going to be probably the biggest difficulty for Derek Chisora in this fight, but he can do it through timing and obviously his positioning and movement as well. He's going to have to walk Usyk onto punches because Usyk is going to be there in front of him, trying to pressure him, trying to force him to go back. Because Chisora, in my opinion, is more dangerous going forwards as opposed to going backwards. If you can get Chisora going on the back foot, then he's a lot easier to deal with because the pressure of a Derek Chisora and how he comes forwards, that is the big difficulty for his opponents. I mean, look at the David Price fight. I know that David Price is a certain level compared to Usyk, and there's a massive gap in between. But he couldn't control Derek Chisora. He could not pin him back. Even Dillian Whyte could not control Derek Chisora because Chisora, when he comes forward, he moves well, he bobs and weaves, and he doesn't get hit all that much on his way in. Now, against Usyk, with that timing and obviously the accuracy of his punches, he will catch Derek Chisora. And Chisora's going to have to keep that head moving all night. Make sure that he doesn't give away any free punches to Oleksandr Usyk because Usyk will definitely take them. And what he has to do is avoid taking too many punches because that will break him down. I mean, a fighter, even as durable as Derek Chisora, can only take so much punishment. So he's going to have to be wary to how many punches he takes while trying to land his own. So he can't go in there thinking, I can soak up anything this guy throws at me to land one punch. He takes ridiculous amounts of combinations just to get one shot away. Maybe that shot doesn't even land. So he cannot go in there with that kind of approach. Now, as for Derek Chisora's preparation and training for this Usyk fight, obviously we've just heard that he's working with Michael Venom Page and some MMA guys. Not predominantly, he's not just doing that. He's also doing boxing as well, of course he will be. We do know one name that is there, and that is Sinad Gashi, obviously a former opponent of Derek Chisora. Good mover and good technically as well. Someone that Derek Chisora did beat though, and that fight was extremely underwhelming between Chisora and Gashi, but good sparring in preparation for Usyk. Also, Bryant Jennings was supposed to be helping Derek Chisora. We don't know at the moment whether he is. He was going to the first time around when the fight was first announced. I don't know whether he is still helping. Apparently, he was also going to be helping Anthony Joshua get ready for Kubrat Pulev. So we don't know whether that's going to be happening just at the moment. But Bryant Jennings was in camp to help Anthony Joshua for Andy Ruiz Jr. So maybe he is a part of that camp and someone that Anthony Joshua will bring back time and time again, because he does obviously bring good sparring, especially considering he's worked with AJ and Derek Chisora and many other big names as well in the heavyweight division. So he must bring a good sparring to the table and have the ability to adjust to different styles to give their man what they want in a training camp. Now, with regards to all of this MMA training, Derek Chisora previously explained that he wants to fight in Bellator. He wants to fight in the MMA ring. Now, of course, that was because he wanted to fight. He didn't really necessarily want to switch to MMA from boxing. He just wanted to have a fight. And that is something that maybe he will be interested in the future. But at the moment, it's boxing. And this essentially is the biggest fight of Derek Chisora's career, because after this fight, he could possibly get a world title opportunity if he were to do the unthinkable and beat Oleksandr Usyk. So preparation is key, it always will be. But he's probably been preparing all summer for Oleksandr Usyk with him in his mind. So he's had longer to prepare, but Usyk has also. I'm guessing both parties, both teams, both fighters were always planning on taking this fight because the fight got made. And maybe they had to take less money, but ultimately it's still happening. And it's happening on October 31st. So it seemed like quite a quick turnaround when the fight was announced to when the fight will happen. So I think that both fighters were always planning on having this fight. There was no way in which this fight wasn't going to happen because both fighters really do want to make this fight happen. And that's very exciting and very encouraging also. Guys, October 31st, Derek Chisora versus Oleksandr Usyk. Derek Chisora may be training with unconventional things and trying some MMA also in there. Maybe that's to get some grappling, working on being the stronger man and making that known and apparent in this fight with Usyk. Could be a good move to see what he can get away with early on. Obviously it will be within the rules of boxing, but obviously he's looking at ways of using his physical strength and size on Oleksandr Usyk, maybe looking to tire him out by holding on, using his weight to maybe tire out the legs of Oleksandr Usyk. Because Derek Chisora is going to have a decided disadvantage on speed, movement, and many other things in there, especially like endurance as well of Oleksandr Usyk. I mean, he can keep that up for 12 rounds. We've seen him do it. So Chisora's going to have to use certain attributes that he has, his strength. I mean, he recently said that he's probably stronger, or he believes he is stronger than Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder. If he believes that, he needs to use that in this fight. Use his size. He's 18 stone. He's a big man. So he needs to use that to impress that kind of size and his physical advantages on Oleksandr Usyk. That could be his key to victory. Make him tired. Lean on him. Pull him about. That is probably a good game plan for Derek Chisora. See what he can get away with early on in the fight with regards to holding on and leaning. Dillian Whyte done it against Joseph Parker. Parker was boxing him early. Dillian Whyte needed to change a few things. So he made it a fight, leant on him, pushed him about, pulled him about, made it rough in there for Joe Parker, made it a dogfight, which was a place that Joe Parker didn't want to go. So that is what Derek Chisora must do with Oleksandr Usyk. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.